certainly know how to take advantage of a day out.
Just passing the time.
Passing time. Is that what we're calling it?
Okay, knock it off.
Sorry to make you wait. It took us longer to wrap things up than we thought.
Thanks for doing this, Flo.
Well, I like the morgue, but this is a nice change.
Did you get a picture of the suspect?
I did. And I had that fellow print a photo just like you asked. I think I could have done better with the framing.
This is who has been sneaking in to breed with Mrs. Timmons' Great Dane?
Don't underestimate him. He's small but determined.
I don't know. I think the composition's challenging.
Really? Thank you. You know I do some of the shots down at the morgue. It's a real art to put together a shot that's the...
There's someone in that house with a gun.
A gun?
They have a stocking over their head. You take the back, I'm going to go to the front.
Do I get a gun?
No.
Look, whatever you want, we'll pay it.
Freeze!
Come on!
What the hell were you thinking?
I suspect an adrenaline rush overcame better judgment, so I wasn't thinking.
Never do that again.
Trust me, it's not a problem.
Just what were private detectives doing in this neighborhood? Were you spying on me?
Well, that is quite an accusation, Mr. Conroy.
Well, as you witnessed, I have good reason to be cautious.
It was an unrelated case, which is now resolved.
Yeah, fortunate for us. Thank you for saving our family.
It was a group effort.
Prohibition makes little sense at the best of times, and right now, it makes none. Single malt directly from Scotland. You care for some?
How can I say no?
I'll get right to the point. I want to hire you to find the bastards who did this.
All right. Well, let's start with the obvious. Who would want to harm you or your family?
Oh, I can do better than that. I know precisely who they are.
You do?
Communists, anarchists, union agitators.
Why would communists want to hurt your family?
At worst, to make an example of capitalist swine by killing us.
And at the least?
To intimidate me. We've been having problems with them at my factory for months.
Well, that is quite a leap from labor unrest to attempted murder.
Yeah, but it's been growing progressively worse. We even called in the Pinkertons, but their specialty is administering beatings, not weeding out extremists. They got nowhere.
Is this the rope that you were bound with?
Yeah, I've cut into my wrists.
Looks like hair. Maybe hog.
I wouldn't know.
One last question. Besides our stellar abilities, why do you think we'll have more success than other agencies?
Well, I think your team could move amongst our employees in a way that other detectives can't.
Communists? I thought the police cracked down on them back in 1919. There's some excuse to round them up.
Association with unlawful organizations advocating force to change the government of Canada, or something like that.
Guess it forced him to go underground.
Yeah, I mean, who can blame them? A lot of these workers came back from the war only to end up earning peanuts in factories owned by war profiteers.
Yeah, if you made it back. And what if you're one of those women who went to work to support the effort?
Then you made half the amount that the men did, or you lost your job.
Try being black.
Spoken like a true Bolshevik.
I just like to keep my politics to myself.
What? An opinionated black woman isn't always appreciated?
Not always.
Well, regardless, political stance is no excuse for attempted murder.
So what's our first step?
Well, let's find out why Mr. Conroy believes we are the ones best suited for this case.
Mr. Conroy was referring to is that Conroy Industries employs a very large number of female employees. Most of them came to us during the war, and then when their husbands didn't return.
It wasn't women behind the attacks, Mr. Scanlon.
There are men working here too, in shipping and receiving. Not a lot, but a few.
And you think that there are communists amongst your employees?
Absolutely. We can't just bust heads and get rid of them. The general strikes in Winnipeg and Boston taught us that.
So what will you do? Negotiate?
Oh, Lord, no. We just need to be more clever in eradicating them. Conroy Industries is a very forward-thinking company.
Well, if they are responsible.
They are.
If they are responsible, then we will get to the bottom of things.
I'm counting on it. Well, call me if you need anything.
Of course.
Ah, you must be the new girl.
Clara Pavey.
Hello there.
You gave me a terrible start, Detective.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Higgins.
Fern,
I was wondering if we could talk about what happened this morning.
there's not much to tell. I was working at the table, and the next thing I knew, there was a man standing in the doorway.
Which doorway?
The inside one.
Not from the backyard?
No.
Did you get a look at him? Even just the slightest glimpse under his mask?
Wish I had.
What about any markings, tattoos or scars?
Nothing like that.
Did he say anything? Maybe he had an accent or used a specific turn of phrase?
Nothing, but it was clear what he wanted. It all happened so fast, I didn't even have time to scream.
Thank you.
I was just reading the Daily. Next thing I knew, a man was there. He hit me, and I don't really know what happened after that.
Does your father have any enemies?
Thought communists were responsible.
I like to keep an open mind.
So what you really wanted, the skeletons in the family closet?
Just the ones that come back to haunt.
My father has a mistress. Probably one along the line. I'm sure he has a number of business enemies. My mother's good for half a bottle a day. Soon be off to her annual dry out. Nothing unusual for the Rosedale set.
Well, I appreciate your candor. If you think of anything else, please get in touch.
Must have gone very well with Mr. Scanlon. I don't remember him ever hiring a gal as quickly as you.
Well, I just told him I needed a job, and he seemed to appreciate it.
It's nice to have someone new to chat with. I'm Zelda. People call me a talkie tutor, but I always get my work done. I saw you when you came in. Gosh, you dress nice. I like to try to be real up on things, too. And your shoes are so pretty.
Thanks. Hey, do you know anything about this terrible rumor that someone tried to kill Mr. Conroy and his family?
Isn't it awful?
I heard it was communists.
You heard that, too. Word is they may even be working right here at the plant.
Go on. Not here.
I don't think they are. But this whole business has gotten me to wondering. Have you ever met a communist?
Never. But I have my eyes and ears open. You can be sure of that.
That's good to hear. Me too. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you, too.
Can I come in?
Of course.
I just want to apologize
For what?
for getting in the way back at the Conroy house.
Flo, you don't need to apologize.
Still, I want to make it up to you. So I did some asking around about your case. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
You see, I made a friend while I was working on your dog case.
That man that I saw you speaking with?
He works at Mrs. Timmons' household. My first friend since Herb didn't make it back.
Good for you.
Anyway, he knows all the dirt in Rosedale. So he told me about the Conroys. The husband's affairs, the wife's drinking problem. Oh, and the son's a layabout.
Flo, I actually knew this already, but I don't think it's relevant.
Oh.
But thank you.
He also told me about a vehicle that was parked in the alley a couple times over the last few weeks.
They were casing the place, planning the attack. But you know what bothers me, Flo? The getaway vehicle was parked in the alleyway.
So?
So, there was a clear path from the alleyway to the kitchen, yet the attackers used an entirely different path that left them exposed.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. Drake Private Detectives.
I need to speak with Frankie Drake.
Speaking.
I heard you're looking for communists at Conrad Industries.
Who is this?
I have names for you. Meet me at the workers' entrance in half an hour. Come along.
You gotta go. Hey, buddy. What are you doing here?
What the heck happened?
You know, I've never been in an actual explosion before. It's like this concussion wave that just takes the breath right out of you.
Thank God you weren't killed.
Well, I think that was the point. I was lured there.
What are the cops thinking?
Industrial sabotage by disgruntled employees.
Oh, not the attempt to kill the private detective hired by the owner?
What about you? What did you make out?
The plant gossip introduced herself. Zelda. I brought up communists and she flinched.
You think she's red?
You know, I got the impression that everyone down there just wants better working conditions. That doesn't make them a communist.
She found you. It's convenient.
My thoughts exactly. I'm gonna try to see if there's something else on her. And you?
I'm gonna stay here and soak. And then I'm gonna catch whoever tried to blow me up.
Oh, Mama, what are you doing here?
I can't visit my daughter at work.
Of course, but you don't like what I do, so it makes me wonder what you really want.
Don't start acting all detective on me.
Well?
We're in a bit of a spot.
What do you mean?
Your father, that logging camp he's been working at up north, it just up and went out of business.
What?
And they're not paying him a cent of what they owe him. 3 months' salary. Trudy, I can't pay the rent this month.
It's okay. I have money saved up.
I didn't want to burden you.
Mama, it's not a burden. And if we need any more help, we could always go to the bank.
Banks don't help people like us. It's just until he can find another job.
The Clark family's gotten through way worse than this.
Oh.
I'm telling you, Mr. Conroy, it's a slippery slope. First they ask for these maternity days, and then where does it end? That's right. The Reds are putting these ideas in their heads. And what happens when they don't get their way? Remember what happened in the Western plant? Precisely. We can't let that happen here. Don't worry. We'll find them and we'll deal with them.
You know, Frankie, I just had no idea how interesting explosions are. So, for instance, there's something called a blast seat. And what's this?
Turkish coffee.
Oh, very exotic. And very strong.
The explosion?
Right. All the usual things are being investigated. What was the explosive? Where was it bought? But here's the big thing. There was a body in the wreckage.
Has it been identified?
Yes, it was a Conroy employee named Henry Logan. He was a bookkeeper there.
So Henry Logan contacts me because he can name communists, but then someone kills him to prevent him from talking to me.
Well, how did he know about the communists?
He must have known somehow.
Or maybe he was one and he was trying to rat them out.
Or he was killed for an entirely different reason.
Oh, well, there is one more thing. The explosion with the horse and the wagon, it's an almost exact duplication of the 1920 communist attack on the Wall Street Stock Exchange.
Horse. A horse may have saved my life last night. So when I arrived last night, the horse was just wandering around. I'm sure it was the same horse that was leading the wagon. I stopped to take a look, and then the wagon exploded.
So, you think the horse was trying to warn you? But how did it get loose?
Maybe it was someone with a heart, and they unbridled it.
A murderer with a soft spot for animals?
Either way, this horse might be able to lead us to whoever did this.
But it's a horse.
So Trudy and I are following leads right now. Do you have time to take a look?
Well, I do have a few days off.
Great.
But how? There are an awful lot of horses in this city, you know.
This might give you a head start. I'm guessing the horse kicked off this shoe as he ran off.
Odd looking.
All the more reason that a blacksmith might be able to recognize it. Do you like horses?
To look at.
Perfect. Jacob, what are you doing here?
Frankie told me where you were. Thought you might need a lunch.
Thanks.
Think I could get a job here?
Why would you want to do that?
To make some money for Mom and Pa.
Mommy and Daddy don't want you working. They want you in school, getting an education.
But they need my help. Landlord wants 2 months' rent now that Pa's out of a job.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Mom's really worried, but she tries not to let on.
Look, everything's gonna be okay. All right, I'll figure something out. It's time for you to go. I'm working undercover. Just don't say anything, understood?
Yeah, of course.
And you stay in school. Mind if I join you?
No, not at all.
You seem a bit off.
It's just this business about Henry from accounting. They found his body in the wreckage.
Did you know him?
Only to see, but still. Mr. Scanlon's sure it's the communists.
First the owner and then Henry?
The police have been accusing everyone around here. I even heard they beat up some guy in receiving.
Some people are good at hiding what they really are.
Yes, they are.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you and me go somewhere fun tonight?
Us?
Is that a problem?
No. No, I didn't mean it that way. It's just, I try to be a proper gal, and I'd love to.
Good.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Can I help you, miss?
Yes, I'm looking for a horse.
Oh, this isn't a stable. Can't help you.
It's not just any horse. I'm looking for a horse that's suffering from laminitis.
Know your way around horses, do you?
No, but I've been to 11 other blacksmiths today, and they all told me that that's what kind of horse wears this sort of shoe.
And I guess I'll be the 12th blacksmith who can't help you. I've got better things to do with my time.
I've had a very frustrating day, and I would very much appreciate your cooperation.
You're a morality officer. What are you gonna do?
How about I wait outside your shop until the next time you try to shoe a horse on a Sunday? And then I will charge you with violating the Lord's Day Act.
You're kidding.
I do not kid.
Well, I suppose you don't. Yeah, I made this one. In fact, I can tell you exactly which horse it was.
You kidding me? Well, that wasn't so difficult, was it?
Drake Private Detectives?
Frankie, you have got to get down here.
Flo, what's wrong?
It's about that body in the explosion. I've never seen anything like it before. What about it?
Just get down here.
I've never been to the ward.
Really?
Good girls aren't supposed to go down there. You know, Jews, Chinese, coloreds. I've never met any of them before either. Until you. I've just heard what people say.
How long have you lived in Toronto?
Almost 2 years. I'm from Grafton. It's about 2 hours east of here on the train.
Have you ever had Chinese food before?
No. Do they really have chicken feet?
Yes, but I would consider starting with the chop suey.
Excuse me. What just happened?
That's Bart Wilkins, our milkman. He gets soused most days and passes out. Everyone just takes their milk and leaves the money they owe.
But he was asleep and the horse just stopped.
Murphy, that's the name of the horse. He's walked that route every day for 4 years.
So you're saying he knows all the stops by heart?
If it wasn't for that horse, Bart would be out of a job long ago.
It's a day of firsts for me. Never been in the ward, or a Chinese restaurant, or a speakeasy.
To first.
To firsts.
You didn't just become friendly and chatty with me by accident, did you?
What do you mean? Of course I did.
No, I think you were prying for information. Gently, but you were.
Was it that obvious?
To me.
I help Mr. Scanlon. He's very worried about these communists. He knows I make friends fast, so he gets me to talk to new employees to see if they're inclined.
Do you think I'm a communist?
No, I don't. And I told that to Mr. Scanlon.
Was Henry Logan one?
Not that I know of.
Have you found any communists? Because I'm just curious to know information about them.
Okay. I can introduce you.
Maggots.
Maggots?
What do you know about them?
Clearly not as much as you.
They're what flies' eggs hatch into?
I did know that.
Well, flies like to lay their eggs in places where there's food for their tiny little maggots to eat when they hatch. Places like dead things with open wounds, and flies smell death, so they're right there.
What does that have to do with Henry Logan?
In the autopsy, the pathologist discovered a knife wound.
He was stabbed to death?
Yes, and in that wound were maggots, burnt ones, from the explosion fire. That means the flies laid their eggs and they hatched before Logan exploded. Henry Logan couldn't have made that phone call to you.
Unless he made it from beyond the grave.
Mr. Wilkins?
Who's asking?
My name is Mary Shaw, and I was hoping to ask you a few questions.
About what?
Your horse and an explosion.
What are you talking about?
Your horse was drawing a wagon that exploded down at Conroyd Industries. And I know that because it threw a shoe there, which I traced back here. I'm sure you see how that looks.
I have nothing to do with any explosions. You a cop?
Well, it's complicated. I'm a morality officer / private detective.
That is complicated.
Now, what was your horse doing down at Conroyd Industries?
Listen, I'm not sure, but yesterday, Murph and I were doing our rounds, and well, I guess I must have fallen asleep.
These things happen.
And when I got up, he was gone.
Gone?
Yeah, I thought, hell, somebody stole my horse right out from under me. Didn't know how I was going to make ends meet. And lo and behold, Murph comes wandering back home. The horse has got an incredible memory, especially for places people give him treats.
And where exactly on your route did this happen?
Just off of Parliament on Spruce.
Mr. Wilkins, I have a proposition for you.
I'm so glad you could attend our meeting.
I'm looking forward to finding out even more about the Women's Peace Cooperative.
Would you like to take home some deviled eggs?
Not tonight, thanks.
So they're the agitators Mr. Scanlon was so desperately looking for. I searched high and low until I found them.
Yeah, not what you expected to find.
We weren't trying to burn anything down or ruin society.
Just some women who are looking for a better place to work.
Their roots are in the suffragette movement. Getting the vote for women was everything to them. Now they're trying to change the world through peaceful means. Just made sense to me. So I joined.
You never told Mr. Scanlon?
Of course not. I don't know what happened to poor Henry Logan or to Mr. Conroy, but these people didn't do it.
So the boogeyman behind the attack on Conroy and his family was a ladies' church group?
Yeah, don't forget, they also supposedly murdered Henry Logan.
Do you trust Zelda? I mean, she is a mole, after all.
You know, I think she's just a young woman who tried to please her boss.
Well, if Henry Logan was dead, then who called me? And why is Henry Logan dead?
Look, I hear bookkeeper, I think fraud. But was he in on it, or did he just find out about it?
Either way, someone wants to blame his death on the communists. And that makes me wonder if the home invasion was a setup.
Where's Bart? I'm filling in for him today.
This is nonsense.
Mr. Conroy, I can assure you we have very good reason to believe the communists had nothing to do with these events.
Based on...
Our investigation. What if I were to tell you that I could name every single person in your factory who is a communist?
They'd be let go.
Well, I'm guessing that is the very least that would happen to them.
Look, I paid you
to find out who attacked you and your family, and in my professional opinion, it was not communists.
Then who?
Whoever it was, they knew your home very well.
Oh, this is ridiculous. It was communists, damn it!
Mr. Conroy, you're succumbing to the Red Scare. Your irrationality is blinding you to the truth.
And Henry Logan, how do you explain his murder?
I can't. Not yet, but I will. And in the meantime, I need a list of everyone who's been in and out of your house over the last few months. Some unsolicited advice. Don't let communists become your white whale.
Not hungry?
Just all these goings-on. They've gotten me upset, I suppose.
You know, Zelda, I don't think you've been entirely truthful with me.
What do you mean?
And I haven't been truthful with you. So, why don't we both fess up? It'll make us feel better.
You think?
I do. And I'll go first. I'm a private detective. I'm working undercover here to try to figure out who attacked Mr. Conroy.
How could you? I trusted you.
And I haven't said a word. In fact, I'm sure the Women's Peace Cooperative had nothing to do with this. But something is going on, and I need your help to try to get to the bottom of things. Please, Zelda. Help me. Trust me. Just start from the beginning.
Back home, we were poor. I saved and saved to come to Toronto to get a job. My mother said I was a fool, but I came anyway. And it was difficult. Lots of gals like me looking for work. I was ready to pack it all in and go home when I finally found this job.
And what happened?
I worked very hard, and Mr. Scanlon took a shine to me. And I suppose I liked the praise. And then one day he told me he wanted to take me for dinner.
He seduced you?
He was successful and rich and wanted little old me from Grafton. But he was married to a shrew.
They all are.
He said that he was leaving her, but he just had to arrange some things first. And I was so happy I would have done anything for him. So when he asked for help with the troublemakers at the plant, I was happy. He never left her. Looking back, I just wished I believed in myself a little more.
All you did was fall in love with someone. It happens.
All I wanted was what my mother and grandmother never had. Freedom.
Why are you stopping here, boy? This isn't one of your stops. Hello?
The horse led you here?
That's right.
Do you have a theory?
I do. I think that the bomber wanted the whole affair to look like the Wall Street bombing. And for that, he needed a horse. One that would be untraceable to him if killed in the explosion. So he stole Murph.
I didn't realize you guys were on a first-name basis.
We're old friends now. Anyway, I suspect they saw Murph walking past with his drunken owner asleep at the reins, and they thought, well, I'll just unbridle this horse and bring him back here. The drunken sot will never know what happened. They fed him some grain, and Murph never forgets a treat. So when I did the route with him, he came back here looking for more.
And by here, you mean where it appears Henry Logan was killed. There's a lot of flies looking for somewhere to lay their eggs.
I think the body and the explosives were loaded into the wagon. Murph was driven down to the Conroy plant, and then boom.
Hey, this looks like hog hair.
The same as what was used to tie up the Conroys.
So this carriage house was used twice. Once for the killing, and another time as part of the attack on the Conroy house. We need to find out who owns this place.
Oh, I did some asking while you were on your way over. The owner died, and the house has been unoccupied for over a year.
Do you have a name?
Wilbur Higgins.
Miss Higgins.
Detective, still working on the case?
Yeah, it turns out there's been a new development.
Oh?
The rope that was used to tie you up. The same rope was found in a carriage house that was once owned by a Wilbur Higgins. It's your uncle, as it turns out.
Isn't that a coincidence?
It is, yeah, but that's not all. A man named Henry Logan was murdered in that carriage house. His body...
I had nothing to do with that.
Just tell me the truth, Fern. It's better me than the police.
I let them in.
Who were they?
I don't know. My job was just to let them in. I didn't want to know either.
Go on.
They tied me up to make me look like a victim. But nothing bad was going to happen to the Conroys. They were just going to take them into the woods and leave them. They'd have gotten loose and been able to get to safety. It was just to make it look like communists did it.
And who came up with this plan?
Richard Scanlon.
Did Conroy know? So, why did you do this?
Richard often came here to visit with Mr. Conroy. One day he came into the kitchen, started talking sweet to me. And the next thing you know, we were... Well, you can guess.
It's like listening to my story. He used her, just like he used me. But why would he do this?
We think there might have been some fraud going on at the plant. Either Henry was in on it with Scanlon, or he discovered it.
It doesn't really matter. Something happened between them. Scanlon wanted Henry dead, and the communists were the perfect cover.
But why attack Mr. Conroy?
Conrad was so rabidly anti-communist, Scanlon knew he'd blame him. Henry's murder would just seem like a further escalation.
So Mr. Scanlon deliberately tried to make me part of it.
He tried to make all of us a part of it.
I once thought, gosh, it sure would be something for me to get a job. And I did that. But I let myself be taken advantage of.
We have a plan, but we need your help.
Count me in. Starting right now, no one uses me again.
Judy, Jacob was looking for you the other day. Did he find you?
He did.
He was pretty upset. He told me what was going on at home.
He shouldn't have told you that.
Well, I kind of made him.
What's this?
A bonus.
You can't do this.
Well, the good thing about being your own boss is you can do whatever you want.
Thank you. I'm gonna pay this back.
Take your time.
Why aren't you wearing your uniform?
We need to talk.
Now's not a good time.
Maybe it's a good time for your wife to listen.
I know. I've not been around. But with everything that's been going on. Maybe we can go away together next week. I have a business trip in Niagara Falls. Have you ever been to Niagara Falls?
No.
It's really quite something. Very romantic. Then what do you want to talk about?
I have an admission.
Admission?
Henry, Logan, and I had a little indiscretion.
What?
Don't act surprised. Did you think I was just gonna sit around waiting for you?
I suppose I can forgive you.
I'm not looking for forgiveness. Henry told me he kept a second set of books.
What are you talking about?
Henry didn't trust you. So he kept some insurance in case something might happen. Here's the thing. If you don't want anyone else to know, you're gonna set me up for life. In that little white house with the neat fence we talked about.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm a modern gal.
It'll take me some time to get the money. This is the deal. You take it and go. If I ever see you again.
Believe me, you won't.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Scanlon?
Yes. It's about our friend, Zelda.
Oh?
She seems to have got this notion in her head that I had something to do with Henry Logan's death.
You? You would do something like that?
Something about a second set of books and skimming. Now, frankly, Zelda doesn't have the brains to come up with a theory like that, so I'm wondering where she came up with that idea. Who are you?
I'm just a gal who's trying to make a living.
You don't want to tell me, that's fine. But if I'm going to lose everything, so are you.
No, she isn't.
You're working together. That makes sense. You're a team.
Keeping all these young women you seduced happy must be very expensive. Ladies?
And I bet there are more than just Zelda and Fern.
That's why you were stealing from Conroy Industries to pay for it all.
You have a problem, all right? It's not communist, but you try to pin it on them.
I guess you've got it all worked out. It's a pity I'm the one with the gun.
You wanted to know who the communists were? There's your answer.
You're not gonna kill us all. In fact, you're not gonna hurt anyone.
Nothing but girl problems for you. Flo, you look fantastic. Something special planned?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
With your new friend?
Actually, with another new friend.
How scandalous. I love it.
I just thought you should know the police came to the morgue. The blood in the carriage house was Henry Logan's. Dick Scanlon's done for.
Good to know.
Also, they arrested a couple ex-Pinkerton goons.
Hired to rough up the Conroys, I'm guessing.
Exactly. You know, Frankie, I spent a lot of time alone over the last few years. The morgue, school. I just wanted to be by myself.
Flo, losing someone like you did, I can only imagine.
I appreciate yours and Trudy's friendship. I appreciate feeling like I'm a part of something.
Strength in numbers, as they say.
Hello, Murph. You were the hero of the day. A hero deserves a reward.
You got that case solved?
Oh, we did indeed, Mr. Wilkins. I just came by to thank you. Well, to thank both of you for your help.
Just glad to be of service.
Mr. Wilkins, with Murph's bad hoof, what's to become of him?
Well, he's doing fine now, but if he gets much worse, could have to put him down.
Well, might you retire him before that?
Well, I can't afford to keep a horse that doesn't work.
Well, if it comes to that, I could take him off your hands.
You don't strike me as part of the horsey set.
Well, Murph and I did get on exceptionally well. And he isn't just any old horse now, is he?
No, he certainly isn't. You know, we might just be able to work something out.
Did you hear that?
So how did it go?
You know, until today, I never thought it'd be possible to actually have a discussion with a group of communists.
I need to stop thinking of them as some political ideology.
You're not slow to offer your opinion, Miss Drake.
When needed.
So what do you suggest?
Consider them your employees asking to be treated fairly.
We've always treated our employees fairly.
Do you pay the same wage to the women as you do the men?
Of course not.
Well, maybe that's the first thing you should consider.
That's unheard of.
I heard Conroy Industries is a forward-looking company.
Well, if the war hadn't happened, there wouldn't be women working in the plant. But they've proven capable.
Times change.
I suppose they do.
So, what's next?
The Women's Peace Cooperative opened my eyes.
Did it?
I want to help. I want to make a difference.
How do you do that?
There's a lot of factories that could be better places to work. I'm going to teach workers about their rights and how to stand up for themselves. I know it sounds pie in the sky.
Not at all. Who would have thought? Zelda Purser, from farm girl to union organizer.
You know, this time you're not talking me out of chicken feet.
I wouldn't dare try.